Nobio. Well, not so long from now, we'll see the president addressing the country in regards to what has happened. The most feared news was confirmed last night with a 36 male Ugandan that was confirmed to have the COVID-19. Now, the topic today will be on the update of the COVID-19 pandemic in Uganda, and of course, we wait to see what the president will say in regards to what was confirmed yesterday. We should also remind you that this is the third time in a week the president is addressing the nation. On Wednesday, he did address the nation in regards to the pandemic, even before we confirmed that we had any case in the country. And yesterday also he addressed the country, issuing out new directives that were given earlier, of course, to prevent the deadly COVID-19 disease from entering the country. At that time, no person or Ugandan or otherwise yesterday they said would be allowed to enter the country. But before, of course, we turn over to Nakasero, where he is going to give the address, we do want to run through to give you a sneak peek of what he said on Wednesday in regards to the COVID-19. But just to give you a brief on the confirmed case, even more, the confirmed case is a 36-year-old Ugandan male who arrived from Dubai today. I beg your pardon, who arrived from Dubai on Saturday, the 21st of March. Aboard Ethiopian Airlines at around 2 a.m. Now, during the screening process at the airport, his temperature was 38.7, and remember, the symptoms of COVID-19 include sore throat, fever, difficulty breathing, among others. So it prompted the health teams to isolate him at the airport, and subsequent temperatures were taken at intervals over 30 minutes and 1 hour. They remained the same. He was evacuated to Entebbe Grade B Hospital for further follow-up, where a swab was taken for analysis and later confirmed that he was COVID-19 positive. Now, we do know that this is causing panic in the public, but the Ministry of Health has continued to assure the country that as long as we follow the guidelines that the president gave, we should be able to overcome this pandemic. So you at home, we do urge you to wash your hands as many times as possible. Do not touch your face, because you have so many openings on your face, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, and the ears. Protect yourself from contracting this pandemic. It is a serious illness, and just to stress this point, Italy, one of the countries that has been affected, lost about 800 people in a day. So you can imagine. So please, we ask you to take this seriously. Do a lot of social distancing, do it a lot. Do not think just because they ban bars and clubs and social gatherings that you can call people within your home and have about 10 people and you think you're following the guidelines. We do ask you to please follow the guidelines. And to take you back to what the president earlier issued out on Wednesday, we saw that he was closing schools and clubs and bars and social gatherings, and all that was closed. And we also saw that religious gatherings were suspended with immediate effect. All these guidelines were issued out on Wednesday, and political and cultural public meetings were to be suspended. All these things will happen in a period of 32 days just to monitor the situation. If it doesn't change, of course, the days may be extended. But for now, everything has been halted. Bars, no more bars, and no more clubs, and no more social gatherings, no more church services. In fact, if you watched NTV at 1, we did give you a sneak peek of what happened today around Kampala, and we even also had our reporter in Soro, Olivia Okomgisha, who showed that even there people did not go to church, meaning that people are actually following the president's directive. Well, today we saw most of the church leaders, speaking to their followers, to the faithful, using social media, and that has been another way to show that the church is not just a building, but it is in our hearts. And of course, as a country, we continue to pray. Yesterday, once again, we did have the national prayers where different religious leaders came together to pray for the country. Sadly, it was just a few hours after that the country confirmed the case of the COVID-19 in the country. Uganda, of course, joins other East African countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania that earlier on had confirmed cases of COVID-19. But we still want to urge the public to remain vigilant and to remain calm. Now, in general information is that according to the Johns Hopkins University, the global COVID-19 cases is now standing at 300,000 confirmed cases, and the number of people dead now stands at 13,000 worldwide. So we do ask you that you take this situation as seriously as possible. Well, once again, we do want, during the course of the week, we did a number of stories where different complaints were being brought forward. First, the country started with self-quarantine, but later changed to institutional quarantine because people were misusing it. So once again, we send out a big shout out to the Ministry of Health that has stayed at the forefront of this fight, making sure that people are informed of what is happening in the country. In fact, if you know so clearly, the Ministry of Health did send out these do's and don'ts in this period of the COVID-19. And if you're watching us today, I would like to give you some of the symptoms and to emphasize them, that once you have fever, cough, sore throat, difficulty breathing, other flu-like symptoms like running nose, sneezing, and body weaknesses, please do make that bold call. Do make that bold call, and the ministry has given us the toll-free numbers. I will read them for you so that just in case you have these symptoms, you can call them up and they can rush to you and test you to see if you have the COVID-19 or not. So the numbers are 00800 100 066. I want to repeat that, 0800 100 066. Another toll-free number that was given out by the Ministry of Health is 0800 203 033. So in case you have any of these symptoms, fever, cough, sore throat, difficulty breathing, and other flu-like symptoms like running nose, sneezing, and body weakness, please do call these toll-free numbers so that you get guidance on how to get tested and how to protect yourself. Well, of course, we're waiting for the president to address the nation, and we hope he'll be coming on any time from now to give us an update on what is happening. But for now, Uganda has closed some borders. For instance, the South Sudan Uganda border has been closed in a move to manage COVID-19 from getting into Uganda. By yesterday evening, when NTV visited Uganda South Sudan border at Elegu, heavily armed UPDF soldiers and field force unit personnel of the police tightly guarded the border point. More than 150 vehicles, including 13 buses, had been blocked at Nimule from crossing into Uganda, while vehicles that arrived at the border to cross to South Sudan were denied entry. We do want to give you a sneak peek of that story, and we'll be back shortly.
We went today, and that's when, at that very time, that was when the border was closed. There are also what we call the international health regulation. That is what will come into play. This border is not going to be closed permanently. There are some mechanisms which are going to be put in place to see to it that people are able to move. I think this border was closed so that the international health regulation principles are first checked, put in place, then the border can be opened. For me, I think they need to strengthen the mechanisms we have at the border to check the people who are entering into this country so that we do not get a case coming into Uganda through Elegu. From my own risk assessment, I think if you look at the whole of Uganda, Elegu might be the weakest spots. And the president having said that whoever is coming into this country and is from a high-risk country, that person should be quarantined, mandatory, 14 days. There is a possibility that some Ugandans will use the weakest point to get into this country. And the weak point will therefore be coming by plane either from China, land in Juba, and then take a bus ride, and come and pass through Elegu, because we are only checking, and the people might not be keen to check the travel history, then we would have got people with the virus getting into the country.
Now, that was happening at the South Sudan-Uganda border at Elegu, where the Uganda was enforcing what the president directed yesterday, that no person would be allowed in and out of the country. The only people that would be allowed are those cargo drivers, and also the number would be limited to 3 people. Well, once again, we do want to remind you that Uganda confirmed its first case of COVID-19. During a late-night press conference yesterday, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, revealed that the victim was a 36-year-old man who had traveled from Dubai aboard Ethiopian Airlines. The minister also told journalists that all passengers who were on that aircraft were now under quarantine.
Last evening, shortly after the national prayers against the deadly COVID-19 at Entebbe State House, the Ministry of Health confirmed Uganda's first case. The Minister of Health, Jane Ruth Acheng, made the announcement during a late-night press conference with officials from the World Health Organization.
During the screening process at the airport, his temperature was 38.7 degrees centigrade. This prompted the health workers to isolate him at the airport for further follow-up. His nasal swab samples were sent to Uganda Virus Research Institute for analysis. Results from Uganda Virus Research Institute showed that the sample is positive for COVID-19. The confirmed case had traveled to Dubai on the 17th of March 2020, that's 4 days ago, for business purposes. At the time of his travel, he was in good health. He is a resident of Kibuli, Kakungulu zone in Kampala. The confirmed case is well, still in isolation in Entebbe grade B, and is still running a temperature and has also developed red eyes, but his condition remains stable.
I also want to encourage fellow Ugandans who wanted to go out and do business, despite the fact that we have closed the borders, and this was our first advice on the onset. You realize that this young man left Uganda the other day on 17th, and now he comes back with a problem from Dubai.
How a nation test makes a mass test or not depends on availability of testers. As you know, the tests are not that a lot is available. So what we would do starting from now is see the scenarios and support the ministry to do more tests in possible contacts. I'm sure we will not have the capacity like South Korea to do a massive population testing.
The minister expressed her disappointment with those who are refusing to follow quarantine guidelines.
For several reasons, many of the travelers are not willing to pay for their accommodation and meals. 2, even when they are able to pay for their accommodation and meals, they keep on walking out of the hotel rooms. But of course, because there is security, they stay within the vicinity of the hotel. Thirdly, there is a lot of complaint and unrest within the areas. And to address that issue, our president today stopped any more flights, because we cannot take in any more people who are not willing to undergo a quarantine.
The World Health Organization warned against stigmatizing those under quarantine.
We are all in it together. This disease is not discriminating by nationality or color, or it has not come to the rest of the world from one nationality or another.
Meanwhile, government is set to deploy at different unofficial entry points after President Museveni banned all entry of persons into the country except for limited personnel on cargo vehicles.
Well, now that you're at home, I know you must be worried, extremely worried. about whether to go to the market, to go to the shops, to go to work, to go to any place, any public place. And we want to tell you that you're not alone. We're also worried. But you must be wondering and asking yourself, how do I protect myself? And how do I protect people around me from contracting this disease? And now we've been telling you over and over again for the last couple of months that you need to wash your hands as many times as possible. And it's not just getting under the tap and doing this. You need to wash your hands carefully for about 20 seconds. Clean them, give it a detail. Of course, we didn't know that in 2020 we would be teaching ourselves how to wash hands, but it has come and we have to deal with it the way it has come. So of course you need to get soap and wash your hands with clean water as many times as possible in a day. So if you used to wash your hands once a day, you need to do that more often, probably 5 times. Every single time you get a chance to get to a tap, wash your hands to protect yourself. Do not touch your face. Even when you think your hands are clean, please do not touch your face, because you have so many openings, the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. So it will be an easy way to get the virus inside you. Now also, if you're able to afford a sanitizer, please carry it with you, so that every single time you touch a surface or you have your phone. Also, it's been believed that our phones also can carry the virus, so it's important that every once in a while you sanitize your phone and you clean it, and every single surface that you get on, you sanitize it or clean it. Now, if you feel you have a cough or you want to sneeze, please use some tissue. This is a time when you and I need to be our neighbor's keeper. So if you feel like you want to cough, you want to sneeze, please use some tissue. So all you have to do is just put it on your mouth and sneeze and cough, and later dispose it off as properly as possible. If you don't have some tissue with you, you can just use your elbow. Just simple, and that way you'll be protecting your neighbors in this particular time. And also avoid close contact with people who are showing symptoms. Well, those are some of the ways you can protect yourself from getting infected and also getting others infected. Well, as a country, even before we confirmed COVID-19, we did have some measures in place. So the president addressed the nation on Wednesday and directed us to close schools starting Friday, and we saw that happening in the country. All schools closed on Friday, and TV moved around, and so schools closed. Of course, it did have an impact on the traffic jam, on different aspects of our daily livelihood. But yes, schools have been closed for the next 32 days. We'll wait to see what happens, and all public gatherings were also halted. So if that includes church gatherings, religious gatherings, culture, public meetings, were all suspended. And on Wednesday, outbound travel to and through countries affected by the COVID-19 had been stopped. And still on Wednesday, Ugandans returning were to be quarantined at their own expense. And we saw so many divergent views in regards to this. People were not happy about this because they were going to meet their own cost. So those are some of the directives that were issued out on Wednesday. So right now,
again, I am here to update you on our struggle with the virus. On Wednesday, I made that long address where I laid out the 13 points that we needed to take in order to prevent and contain this problem. It was as if God had alerted us. You remember in the 13 measures, we had left a window, the one of Ugandans who were coming back from Category 1 countries, whom would quarantine, but allow them in after quarantining. Then there was also the people from non-category 1 countries, both Ugandan and non-Ugandan, whom would also quarantine. Now, the problem we had was that some of these people were not cooperative. When we tried to quarantine them, some escaped, and they were giving a hard time to our health people. However, even the health people also were also not very well coordinated, because they cannot do this work alone. They cannot contain people by themselves. They will have to work with the army and the police. Now, yesterday I had another meeting together with the health experts, and we now introduced new measures. Given the complication of trying to control those people who are coming from the heavily affected countries, we decided that we stop completely all passenger coming in, passengers coming into Uganda or moving out of Uganda. It is better we save the base, which is Uganda, with the 42 million people who are here. Yes, there are Ugandans who are outside, but like when we were fighting the war, if the camp was attacked, the first priority was to defeat the attack on the camp. If you had gone out to buy food, to do what, you stay where you are. You cannot come in the middle of the fighting. The fight, where will you pass? You will be killed. And we cannot stop fire and say, oh, let's allow the one who had gone to buy food to come back. Because where will he pass? So that's why we said no more passengers coming into Uganda or going out, either by land or by air or by water. The only people who can come in are the drivers and turnboys of vehicles which are carrying cargo. Abetse migugu. The good thing with those is that they are few, they are not many. We said only 3 per vehicle, not more than 3. The driver, the turnboy, maybe one other person. The same with the cargo planes. The good thing is that we need the cargo, of course. The country needs the cargo. And even to take out our own cargo, which is going out. But that's not the main point. It's not the economics. It is also the ease of monitoring the 3 people per vehicle compared to these thousands of passengers. So we announced that measure yesterday, and we also said we shall not allow people to come in by either walking or cycling. All those will not be allowed. Through the gazetted centers and even the hidden ones, we are going to deploy the forces on all those. They mentioned them. I think there are 103 and another 150 something. They have all the details. Now, as we were in the meeting yesterday, the religious meeting, and then afterwards the strategic committee meeting about this health issue, and the broadcast which I was making. Now, when we got out, apparently there is a Ugandan young man, 36 years old, who had left for Dubai on the 17th of March. He came back morning of 21st, which was yesterday. And to the credit of our health teams, you know, they have been waiting at that airport. Whenever I pass there on the VIP side, I see them. And the other day when I was in Mbare, I saw them there. And now, when this gentleman came back, the machine, the temperature monitor, was able to see that his temperature was 38.7 degrees centigrade. The normal temperature? 37.5. The normal temperature is 37.5 or below. So these people put him aside, said, this is a bit high. Put him aside, and after 30 minutes, brought him back. Because those are their procedures. They are rombo. Then the temperature was still high. So, and he told them that he had a fever, but he was not coughing, and he was not okwetiamura. You know, I told you the other day that English language is very poor. They don't have enough words because they say sneezing. So sneezing in Nyankoda, that doesn't make sense, because when I sneeze in, that is okshoreza. In fact, children are normally beaten. Don't, because it is taken as a bad habit. Children who are fond of sucking in the air in their nose. It's called okshoreza. Now, in English, you don't have that. I think they call that sneezing. Now, when you have a cold, you blow out. They call that sneezing also. So please, I think because you are English people, you are English speakers, you people, I will now introduce a new word for you to say sneezing out, meaning yokwesiamura, because you don't have it in your English language, and sneezing in, meaning yokshoreza, because you don't have it in your English language. So I have introduced a new word for you, sneezing out or sneezing in. But the problem here is sneezing out. It is okwesiamura. The problem is okwesiamura and okora, coughing. They are the danger here. So this person was not sneezing out, was not coughing, but he had a fever. He himself felt a fever, although he didn't, of course, tell anybody. It was only after he was put aside that so he was detected by your system. I must congratulate you people. Your system detected this fellow through the temperature monitoring. and put him aside and did him again. They confirmed temperature, then they took him now to the hospital where they took the blood, and by yesterday afternoon apparently the blood had confirmed that he was positive for corona. Now remember, he had been to Dubai since 17th. Now the question is, did he go with this disease? Which means we trace where he was coming from. And the health people have already contacted all his family people. They have told me about his family people. They already know them. And they have checked all of them. It seems there is nobody who is complaining of any sickness among that cluster of the people associated with this young man. So there is a strong likelihood that he picked it in Dubai, although they have not yet ruled the other one out completely. And that can be possible because they say when you get it, the symptoms can develop in 2 days or later, but within 14 days. But they say that some even remain what they call asymptomatic for longer. I'm also beginning to hear that. But what I would like my experts here who are sitting here to explain to you is, if he's asymptomatic, if he's not coughing, if he's not sneezing, if you are not shaking hands, because you remember I told you shaking hands, they say you are dying to shake hands. I don't know why you are dying to shake hands. Dying to shake hands, and if they don't shake hands, they hit elbows. I don't want anybody to hit me with the elbow. Elbow for what? These are idiotic things. Bible gamba ntibalekanga bibasande kukola nibakola bibatasande kukola n'amazima tugali mu bo mukole elbow. I don't want that nonsense. For what? I have seen you, I have greeted you, finish. What else do you want from me? That you want my elbow to box you? Mambo ya kijinga tu. So, no shaking of hands. I told you this long ago. The other day when the Archbishop of Canterbury was here, I said, please, thank you very much. I see you. I wave to you. You know that I like you very much. But in the book of Genesis, God commanded us to establish dominion over nature. And this is one of establishing dominion over this virus. Don't touch it. Why do you touch it? So, what I want these people to explain to you later on, if this fellow remains asymptomatic, does he infect people? They will explain to you later. So you can see the wisdom of what we did to close these schools and stop the church meetings and stop the mosques and stop the political rallies. All those measures which were announced on the 18th. Now, where we are, the only remaining danger is public transport. That is the only remaining danger. Because this public transport is where you get these people who are sitting together in a bus or a minibus or a taxi. This is the one I am struggling with in my head, how to handle. Therefore, for now, I appeal to you, if you don't have your own private transport, your own car, or your own motorcycle, or your own bicycle, don't use this public transport. Stay at home. Where are you going? Before I came here, I was watching UBC. There is a confused young man, a doctor, Obuk. You remember the other Obuk boy who was making a lot of nonsense? I think Corona also makes people sensible. I saw the man talking sense for the first time. This Obuk man, I saw him saying, just like I'm telling you, please stay at home, postpone that business, it can wait. I said, Obuk is reasonable. So Corona should not be underestimated. I think it can also make people are not reasonable. So the question is, you stay home. If you don't have your own transport, stay home. Meanwhile, I appeal to the managers of those groups, the buses. I have not banned them yet, but I'm appealing to you to minimize the use of those public transport means, but also for the owners of those vehicles, of those systems, to not allow anybody who has got a flu or coughing on a public means of transport. Secondly, to arrange for people to have these temperature monitors. To arrange to have them temperature monitors at the some of these embarkation and disembarkation points, the bus parks and so on. I don't know whether the Minister of Health can manage to cope with that, because the demand may be too much. Thirdly, for people to wash their hands with the disinfectants when they are entering and when they are leaving. But you, at the individual level, if you don't have to, please don't use those public transport means. Because this is the only remaining danger which I see, the possible weak point. Now, for the students and school children who went home, stay home. The other night I saw my senior presidential advisor on epidemics, Dr. Museveni, who is sitting here, advising you young people to stay in your homes. Don't go to the trading centers. You are in your home. You are in Raktura. Don't go to Rusheri, to Loita, in the town. Don't go to the Antonde. Don't go to Masaka. You just stay in your father's home, your parents' home, where there's less crowding. These are people who know one another. They are strangers. They are not strangers. You are safe there. stay home, stop loitering in towns. But that can also be another area which nullifies our efforts. We save you from here, you go, instead you go to loiter in Kaveramaido town or Kalaki or those Chichibuku and all those places, the trading centers. Home means home. A car, mbere our car. Gang, being a gang in the home. Pacho. That's why we are sending you. We are not sending you from the town, from the school to the trading center. That's not the address we sent you. And last night I was telling you how our people survived the smallpox of 1893. At that time there was no vaccine for the smallpox, no vaccine for. People survived by just behavior. Instead of staying in the royal kraal at Mbarara there, where many people died, they went to the villages. That's how they survived. And the epidemic passes after some time. It went away. Because, like smallpox, either it kills you, I don't know within how many days, or you survive it, and then it goes. It kills some and others survive. So either way, its time runs out. So if you isolate the ones who are infected until they either die or survive, then it will end there. I don't think it remains in the ground or what. That's smallpox of 1891. In fact, the Banyankole called it Omzegwa Muti, the smallpox of Muti. That's what the old name of Mbarara. Because it is the Mbarara people who died most. The ones who were in the royal crowd, the Orembo, the palace of the king. Then nightclubs and bars. Nightclubs and bars are not workplaces. Because you remember I told you that the workplaces should remain open. The workplaces are factories and hotels and offices. These are the workplaces. The advantage of the workplaces is that the people who come there are known. There is a known number of the workers who work in a factory. So you can know who is sick, and you say, no, you have a cough, stay at home, and you also check him. And the others come. But the problem with nightclubs and with bars, they are ad hoc. Anybody comes. That's where the danger is. The one you know and the one you don't know, they all come. So that's why they are dangerous. You cannot regulate them. You cannot regulate them. That's why they should therefore be closed. Nobody should say that a bar or a nightclub falls in the definition of a workplace, because it is very difficult to know who is who. But above all, my view is that this virus is actually very easy to defeat. When I listen to the experts, and they are here, they can repeat, when I listened carefully, because that's how I fought AIDS. The experts told me what they knew, and out of what they told me, we designed a strategy, which was the ABC: abstinence, be faithful, use the condom. That's how we defeated AIDS, even before the medicine came. These are drugs which people are using now. We brought down the prevalence of AIDS from 18% national to 6%, even before the ARVs. Actually, when the ARVs came, that's when it went up again to 7%, but I think now it has come down again. And we did this just by preaching, like I'm preaching to you now, by telling the people how the virus was behaving and how we could avoid it. The same with Ebola. That's what we did with Ebola. So even this one, when I listened carefully, it is actually easier to defeat if we are serious. How? Because it spreads apparently by two methods. Method number one, okwetyamula, sneezing out, and coughing or cholera near other people within the distance of how many meters?
About 3 meters. Up to 3 meters.
Yeah. Within the distance of 3 meters. You sneeze out or you cough out, you cough 3 meters from me, and you are infected, and I'm not infected, you put me in danger. This is way number one. So the answer for this is that anybody with a cold, don't go into a public. Yeah. Stay at home and then be managed there. Please. Coughing out, sneezing out, coughing, stay at home. Of course, at home you should also isolate yourself. Don't infect your children or your siblings. Isolate yourself and call in the medical people to come and check you. Because these people have a few testing places, but during the Ebola time, they had worked out, Museveni can tell you what they were doing, how they used to bring samples from I don't know where, and then they check them and they go back. So if we handle the coughing and the sneezing and just restrict it, these experts will tell me about the asymptomatic, the other ones who are not coughing, who are not sneezing. Like this young man who is in Entebbe now. Because he was not sneezing, he was not coughing, but he had temperature. And Acheng told me that this morning he had like red eyes or something like that. Which is another sign, but not yet coughing, not what. So this is number one. Everybody has to do this. Let's ensure that nobody who is coughing, who is sneezing out, because you don't have the word. I cannot say kwetiamra. You cannot follow it. You speak English, but English is poor. So I've now got a word for you. Sneezing out and coughing. please stay at home. Now, second one is Okwefuka. The English don't have a word for that. Okwefuka. They call it blowing your nose. That you blow your nose. But you can call it Okwefuka. Okwefuka, when Okwefuka. When you Okwefuka, you blow your nose, and somehow the mucus goes through the hand, the whatever you are using, handkerchief, whatever, and the virus goes onto your hands, and then you touch surfaces. Touching surfaces, tables, chairs, door handles, car doors. Now, this virus stayed there for
up to 3 days.
Stay there for correct information. Is it,
Yes, I think the longest stays on plastic. Plastic is the longer one. These other hard surfaces, plastic things have shown the longest time.
Plastic,
Yes, plastic surfaces have shown the longest time,
which is
up to 9 days. They have been able to detect the virus up to 9 days on plastic surfaces.
so you hear that in some surfaces, the plastic ones, the virus can stay there for 9 days. So that's why it may be good to periodically disinfect these common user surfaces, like the tables in offices, these conference tables where the big men and women are talking and sweating. Does it really go through sweating? The virus? It's not known. But touching. So periodically, like after every 6 hours or something, you could, in these offices, the government offices, you could have some people going around with the disinfectants and cleaning the door handles, the tables. But at a personal level, what I would like these experts to either refute or confirm, even if this chair is contaminated and I also touch it and the virus goes on my hands, but I don't touch myself. I don't touch myself. I don't touch my eyes, especially my eyes. My eyes, my mouth, my nose. From what I've been told, the virus will not enter you. It will stay on your hands until you wash with soap and it goes away. So for me, Banang, this virus is easy to defeat. If we are, like you follow my NRA way, because NRA, National Resistance Army, was a people's war. Not a war of experts, not a war of professionals, it was a war of the people. So I am here to lead a people's war, if you want me to lead you. I led the villagers to defeat the soldiers of the barracks, the soldiers of the salaries. We, the Nichewas, were able to study the science of war, master it, and use it to defeat the professionals. So they were nange, they ended up being. okukorora okwesyamula omugano bekwete okwefuka so ekizibu ekiri wano biri bintu bisatu tewali kyakuna bisatu byokka okwesamula eri abantu abangi ogw'omuganda yamba yanje okwasimula otyo okwasimula eri abantu abangi okukorora eri abantu abangi okukwata awali akawuka newekwatako newekwata mu bitundu ebisatu enyindo nebagiyeta kyomuruganda enyindo amaaso omukamwa omunda. So these are the two issues, three actually: okwetyamula, okukorora, okwekwataho. Because even if the surfaces were contaminated and you touch them, but you did not touch yourself in the delicate parts, the three parts, the virus will not enter you. Unless there's new science. Somebody was talking of orofico, that somebody had detected going through feces. Have you heard of that? Your comment on that? Okay, you will comment on that. Noisha banange byange byebyo nze wano okulembera olutalo olw'abamwananchi okwerwanako nga bwe twakola okulwanyisa abatemu abali batemula abantu, okulwanyisa siriimu, okulwanyisa ebola, okulwanyisa olunkusense olwatanga abaana, okulwanyisa polio. Ebyo byonna twabirwanyisa tuyita mu kukunga abantu, okubanyonyola. Kati kyendiko kikindese wano ku Sande, okubanjulira wetutuuse n'okubagamba nti olutalo luno tusobola okuluwangula singa tukola biri ebisatu. Naye kati bano bongedde ekyokuna, ekyokugenda mu kabuyonjo n'otanaaba bulungi n'okwata emmere, ekyo nakyo bakyongeddeko, banakinyonyola bulungi. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck. I wish you God's protection. Can we get comments from you people? Minister?
Thank you very much, Excellency, for updating the public again following the case of coronavirus that we have confirmed in the country. I want to appreciate your emphasizing the methods of prevention, and I want to appeal to the population to seriously practice the measures that His Excellency has clearly elaborated again and again. It is time for the entire population, wherever you are, to be on high alert and report all cases with signs and symptoms, or all persons rather with signs and symptoms of cough and flu through our toll-free numbers, so that samples can be obtained and we analyze these samples very quickly in order to ensure that our populations are safe. Again, as His Excellency has clearly elaborated, the district authorities need to be in charge. There are district task forces in all the districts, my humble appeal to you is to ensure that your district task forces are active and doing what we have trained them to do over the years on the various outbreaks, and specifically to be able to ensure that those places that His Excellency has clearly stated where there is mass gatherings is stopped immediately. His Excellency mentioned the issue of the possibility of Orofico. Yes, it has been observed in many places, but more analysis is ongoing on this. It has been observed and reported, but more analysis is still ongoing. And as scientific information continues to come, we will make that statistics available. I want to particularly appeal to those who were on the plane with the confirmed case. There were 84 passengers. We have their information. When we call upon you, please make yourself available for purposes of follow-up. Thank you.
Anything else, Museveni?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the comprehensive coverage of the issues, the key issues. I just wanted to emphasize on or comment on something that you asked us. Is it possible for an asymptomatic case to pass on the virus? The evidence from where this disease has so far been is that yes, it is possible for a case which has where people are not coughing to pass on the virus.
How?
I think if, like, when you breathe, even when you are not coughing, when you talk, the virus can come out. Because like this one, they just swabbed the nose, and it was coming. They just swabbed the nose, and the virus is there. So, and information from especially the cases in Europe is that for about 50% of the cases, they actually cannot trace the source, meaning that the source who infected that person did not have symptoms. Did not have symptoms. But whether it is the hands, because people are touching, because the virus is there, so you touch, it is a bit irritated still, even if you're not coughing, and even when you speak, something may come out. So some people have been infected, but you cannot trace from those who have come up and been tested, you cannot trace the source. And this is also the challenge. The virus can move in the population for a while without you noticing it, if it comes across only healthy people. So they are healthy, they will not develop disease, but they can still spread the virus.
So that means he was not coughing, he was not kwechamra, what they call sneezing out, but either he was breathing nearby you. When you breathe nearby, does it bring droplets? What do you call droplets? What is the mode? Just breathing. Just breathing without coughing, what comes out?
Yes, Your Excellency, we have this in a number of diseases. We call them asymptomatic carriers, or you have nasal shedders, people who shed through their nose. There was a famous one who was baptized Typhoid Mary, was a person who had typhoid bacteria in their nose. They were not sick, they did not have diarrhea, they did not have fever, they did not have any symptoms, but she kept shedding these bacteria from her nose, and she was working with food and ended up spreading it to an entire community. So,
but shedding how? By blowing her nose?
Blowing the nose, But even small droplets come when you're breathing. Small droplets come. You touch the nose.
No more breathing.
Yes.
When you are breathing, some what you call droplets are tiny, liquid-like.
Exactly. If you put a glass or a cold surface, you'll see them. You'll see, moist particles appearing.
Or they will gather there.
Yes.
They come as what? As vapor?
Yes, they are micro, small droplets. Mm-hmm. Yes, small drops of water, very, very tiny, that you may not easily detect, but they carry the virus. Mm-hmm. And then that goes into the hands if they touch, or just it goes even into the environment. So if that person is working with sensitive items like utensils for eating, then it can easily be spread. And this typhoid Mary, I think, worked in a kitchen. And so all the people who were passing there got affected. Yes.
So, but again, don't we go back to the... So, but in this case, it would mean that this person could sit with us in a taxi, and although he's not coughing, but because of breathing.
Yes, so that means that risk is there, but it is much lower. Because when you sneeze, you eject with a lot of force. The particles come out at a high speed, up to 150 kilometers per hour. So they are able to distribute. But the shedder is just a slow little drip of these droplets. So they are not as infectious. Then I wanted to make a comment on the orophycal route. What has been shown is that up to 50% of the affected people who are sick have symptoms in their intestines. That is diarrhea, stomach pain, and they are shedding the virus through their intestines. So there's a possibility of orophycal route, for which we again have the same preventative measures: to boil water, to wash your hands, and ensure good hygiene. Maybe the last point is on the testing. The testing that is currently the most sensitive and the best way to test is using samples taken from the nose or the back of the throat or the mouth. And we just take off the swab, and these swabs are available. The health workers can come where the people are, take off the swabs. Even though the testing facility is in one place, samples can be taken from anywhere in the country. So people shouldn't be concerned.
And transported how?
They can be transported. The swab itself has a transport medium, some little liquid which preserves the virus in it. So once you take the sample, put it back, it can be transported from anywhere in the country, and the sample remains viable. Yes.
Excellency, let me explain how the samples are taken. They are small tubes which have swabs, like a stick, like these things for the earbuds. So those earbud things, they have their own bottles. So when you open the top, it comes with that kind of earbud, which is used to swab, and then you put it back into the bottle. Then it is sealed and packaged. Now it is taken to what we call hubs. Our hubs are the laboratories that package it and put it on the poster bus, and it's taken directly to UVI.
How many are there in Uganda, those? The hubs?
There are 100 hubs all over the country.
So that means if you take the Wateso, they would have how many hubs?
They have about 10 hubs.
Those are Watesos?
If you say the whole eastern area. Because the Watesos penetrated the
No, I mean the Bateso in their homeland, not where they invaded, but they are...
Excellency, there are about 5.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Bateso would be having Bateso, the other Teso.
Yes.
Including the Kumam, who are neither Teso nor something. They are half. So those ones would have 5 places.
Yes.
And the Basoga would have like how many? Because I want to see whether there's anybody who is neglected in terms of where they can reach.
Excellency, nobody is neglected.
All of them are equally distributed in the country.
Yeah. You know, from what the experts are saying, because if they say the Teso area, which has got like 10 districts, has 5 points, what they call hubs. The Botro, you can carry it anywhere.
Yes.
You can even take it to a village.
Yes.
Then you take the smear,
yes,
what they call the swab, you put it back in the table, in the bottle, then you transport the bottle to the hub.
Yes.
And like if you take the test area, there are at least maybe 5 points. I think you can later on you can say these hubs are here. You can mention them on the radio, so that people know where they are. So that testing should be easy. Then they bring to Entebbe, they test, then they will tell you. So for me, in spite of this shading, because they are saying there's somebody who can have this virus peeling off his nose, even if he's not coughing, even if he's not sneezing. But even people like Okia agree that it doesn't go far. It seems this peeling may end up by ending up with the touching, contaminating the surfaces. So if you handle they're not touching yourself in the sensitive parts, you eliminate, and the washing, you eliminate a lot of problems. Anything else, Atwine?
I just wanted to refer to when you are saying that asymptomatic is only when you are not coughing and when you are not sneezing. Asymptomatic means that you don't have any signs. So if you have fever and you are not coughing, you still have a symptom. That is also a symptom. From the research now, that is the information that is coming out of the countries that are affected, the majority of the people start infecting like 2 days before the symptom start. But the majority of the people infect when symptoms start, and those symptoms mainly, and how you can even slightly differentiate between COVID flu-like symptom from the normal flu is that while in the normal flu you begin with sneezing and watery eyes, and now this side of COVID you begin with fever and sore throat and cough. The sneezing is mild. The COVID patients are less sneezy compared to the flu ones. And the cough of COVID tends to be very dry. They are not. It's not wet. When somebody is coughing, it tends to be at early stage before you get deep pneumonia, real pneumonia. You are not producing a lot of mucus. It's just irritating kind of dry cough. But also I wanted to mention that this virus only goes in the sinus mucous membrane. It does not go to any other part. It does not, for example, someone was asking that, does this COVID get transmitted sexually? It is not. Although we are talking about mucous membrane of the private parts, it does not. It does not affect is not transmitted sexually. It's like flu, like any other flu, like virus. It goes for the sinus mucous membrane. That's why if you avoid touching here, then you can easily defeat this virus. I wanted to also to mention, because on the social media, and I was reminded here that someone was asking that when we tested this person, why did you let everybody go away? That time, the testing, we know people were moving. The airport is extremely crowded, and it is very risky to keep people crowded in one place. So we try to move as many patients, as many people from the airport as quickly as possible, so that we avoid crowding. Crowding alone is a risk factor. So this person had to go on the side and retested. By the time we finished, the other people had gone through, but the majority of those people were not coming from Category 1. Category 1 countries are the ones that had high burden of the disease, and the risk was higher, and it was not possible to quarantine everybody from that plane. The other people were advised to go home and self-quarantine. The fact that they were traveling and they were from Ethiopia, others were from other countries, although they are coming from countries that are affected, but the numbers were very, very small. So we were mainly concentrating, because of the burden and the risk involved. We did not ask them to go into institutional quarantine. But today, because of our case, now we have agreed that we are going to do everybody who comes this time, whether you are coming from a country that has 5 cases or 10 or 100 or 500, everybody is going to be subjected to institutional quarantine, because this one, it has shown that even this particular person came from Dubai and most likely got the infection from Dubai. The other thing on Orofico, we get the virus gets into the digestive system because of swallowing of the mucus that is contaminated in the throat, in the nose, in the back of the throat. So the mucus, someone swallows. When that person swallows, the virus goes in the mucus, and it goes into the gut. It goes into the fecal. We have not really had because this disease is very new, we have not really had very, very good data to see whether this virus actually stands the acid in the gut, and it comes out and it is alive and it stays, and it can actually infect. So we have very limited data, but maybe with time we'll get more information once research is able to show us based on the evidence. Lastly, we want also to remind the hotel people, the ones where we are taking our people for quarantine. We want them to be vigilant and making sure that their workers are not exposed. We want the hoteliers to make sure that the people who work in their rooms have masks, because they don't know who is well and who is not well. But also, the clothes they clean from the hotel and the cleaning, we want the workers to be properly protected with protective gloves and masks, and make sure that the beddings are ironed. Once you iron, if there is anyone shedding the virus, definitely it will not survive. Thank you very much.
Okay, Museveni will be the last.
Okay, dear viewers, I think everybody has become very science, including His Excellency. So what does all this science mean for us? The explanations that has been provided in very simple ways for all of us to understand the justification for the measures that are being taken. We've been receiving cases of people who are escaping, for example, sneaking on Friday to go to church to pray at night. Now you are putting yourself at risk, because if somebody is shedding, it's not really that government wants to punish you, but because somebody could be there, because this virus moves through the breathing. Any gathering, the interventions are avoid mass gatherings, wash your hands with soap and water. The people in the rural areas, stay at home. Go to your garden and stay at home. Avoid those evening meetings in the trading centers where people from everywhere gather. Limit visitors. The people who are trying to sneak, my person has died, for us we have to be there. You will end up getting COVID, so it's not to punish you. If we work together during this season, we will bring down the epidemic very, very fast. Then we'll go back to our normal lives. So we are requesting the public to cooperate with the ministry, cooperate with the people who are close to you. And then what the minister said about the collecting of the swabs, just go to the health center. You don't need to know where the hub is. The system is there. Just go to the health centers. They have been telling you. The people at the health center will know how to get the swab to the hub. Your role is just to go to the health center and you will be assessed. If you qualify, if you fit the case definition, then they will pick the specimen. It is not your responsibility to find where they are testing. Just go to the health center. If we work together, we'll be able to get rid of this. We'll be able to work together and the country will be back to normal. Thank you.
Okay, I thank my team, and I want to quote the example of China. That city where the whole thing started. Now there are no. And one do what he wants. In China, once the government says this, that's what is done. And that has been the difference. That's why at one time they locked down that province of Hubei, which has got 58 million people. All of you stay in the house, don't move out. Now here we are just making fun of ourselves. And we are just endangering ourselves. So now finally I want to relate to the campaign obutamanya, ignorance. We have been trying to get some schools, but now that the children have gone home, we could get some schools to quarantine these people there, instead of wasting money in hotels. But then I'm told that some people are superstitious, that once the corona people stay there, they will bring Exirani to the school. Bring Exirani to the school, and that the children will fear to come back. What sort of thing is this? How can this happen in a society where people are educated? We are saying that the virus, even if you do nothing, it can stay only alive for 9 days on the plastic surface. On other surfaces, it dies very quickly. So the children went away for holiday. They will not come back until after 30 days. So even if they use the school, even if there was no disinfection done, the virus would die by itself. But we are not going to leave it like that. Every morning these people would be disinfecting. So there's no virus which will survive. So we should not, we cannot be guided by superstition, lack of science. So I will talk to Mama and her head teachers, whom I thought were people who are from university and they are educated people. They can't be governed by superstition that Xeran will remain there or something like that. So before I came here, I was negotiating with Mama. I'm sure she's working on her group to get us some schools. But in any case, we have closed the airport. The people who are looking for where to accommodate them are the ones who have just come in last minute. I hear that Ethiopian Airways increased the planes. The Emirates, I think, brought all our children there in Dubai. I think they are back here within the next few hours because the airport will be closed at midnight. So we need to handle these fellows who have just arrived for the next 14 days. Then we shall be back to normal. Let's be tough so that we defeat this enemy and we go back to normal life. If we are lousy, we are going to really suffer. And you should prepare for hundreds of thousands of graves. I hear that in some of the European countries they have prepared graves near the offices. That's what somebody told me. Huh? No, but the cremations have refused now. They say they have tired in Italy. So please, I don't want Ugandans to get to that. It's not necessary. Let's do it the NRA way, the National Resistance Army way, where the ordinary people become knowledgeable as if they were scientists. That's how we defeated the enemy. When we started the war in Ruwero, my people were worried. Because they were hearing explosions. So I told my people when they were fearing explosions. Then I asked them, I said, you fellows, do you know Eladu? Eladu is lightning. I said, yes, we know it. So, does it kuwatuka mpora mpora? I said, no, it's kuwatuka nyo. Does the Eladu kill people every time it explodes? I said, no. So this is the same. These big explosions, unless it lands directly on you, it will not kill you. It's just, I called those explosions Bigobanchima. They just frighten away the monkeys only. They don't frighten human beings. So we already know, if we really do the way I think, we can defeat it. We can defeat it. Thank you very much.
Well, there you had it from the president of the country addressing us again in regards to the COVID-19, now that we have a confirmed case in the country. So a number of things were re-emphasized. For instance, no shaking hands. The president was very clear on this, saying that no one should shake hands. He was even wondering, why do we love hugging and shaking hands? For this time, we should not be doing it. And of course, we also saw him re-emphasize that those students and children that have been sent home, they should stay stay home. They shouldn't go to the villages and also try to move from one place to another. And maybe something new that he mentioned was that he's still grappling with the idea of public transport. He does not know exactly how he should deal with this, but he said that for now, all public public transport owners should ensure that they do not allow someone on public transport that has flu, that has cough, that is sneezing. So also he asked the public to ensure that if you have all these symptoms, you're coughing, you have flu, you're sneezing,